Yo, what is up, people? We are continuing the bench mob in these tough times, as we were just discussing with my boy Eric Lani.
Hey.
It was a gloomy start to this call, Eric. I'm glad we hit record after.
We're on an upward trend now, man.
We're on an upward trend now. Shouts out to everyone in quarantine, chilling at home. Hope everything's all good. We're going to talk a little bit of Nuggets, though, to, get our mind off things and focus on the game we love. It's not being played, but it has been for a minute, and the Nuggets are. What place are you guys right now? I don't have it in front of me.
Man, they either ended it in third in the West or fourth in the West. I don't even know that I've checked the standings after the last game. So.
Yeah, but first, what's up, Eric? How's it going? I feel like people, if you listen to our Nuggets preview episode before the season, Eric was on there with another Eric, but now we just got one. Double. We just got Lani on board. How's it going, man?
Double Erics. It's good, man. It's good. Yeah, the Nuggets season was good. It was interesting. It was a little disappointing at times. It was exciting at times.
All right, we have to start at the start. What did you give me your actual opinion on Jokic just being fat to start the season?
Man, I see the whole thing is like Jokic goes and plays for the national team in Serbia every offseason. Yeah. Like he's gonna keep doing it too. And so like he basically goes through an entire year of basketball every single year. And in Serbia, like, dude, the coaches aren't like, watch what you eat, like, don't go out. Like, they don't care.
Why do you need the coaches,
like
though?
NBA player.
It's Jokic. Like, he should know better.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
still a kid, though. Like, the dude is 25, Yeah, he's still a kid. Like,
that's true.
He needs a little guidance, I think. He's not like Kyrie at 25, like NBA champion, like, laser focused. He's just completely different. He's so aloof and goofy. That's just his personality. But yeah, I think that's what it is. Like the training staff, the coaches, like all those people just need to like be on him at all times.
I feel like if he goes through a tough loss, like I don't know when it's going to be or how it's going to be. Like right now, they would be slated against the Rockets in the 3-6 matchup. That's a really fun series. A tough one for the Nuggets, actually.
I don't know that the Nuggets come out of that.
That's tough. Like, see, the thing is, I've always been really high on the Nuggets. And I think I still really am for next and the season, more so that second season. I think not next year, but the year after. Because I think this year, Michael Porter Jr. kind of like got his wheels underneath him. Next year, he's going to kind of like, start playing and like, start most of the season. And then the year after that, if MPJ takes that leap, that's the only way you guys become true contenders to me. Because you don't have that position for anyone else. And his ceiling could be like up there, and he could be that guy. If Michael Porter Jr. is that guy for you guys in 2 years, I think you guys are like legitimate contenders, because I think him, Jamal Murray, and Jokic are just nasty. It's just like, what do you feel about this situation with Michael Porter Jr. kind of like flashing and then not fully there yet? Do you think he'll get there? Like, what do you think?
Man, that's the thing, is like offense, he is so good. Like he clearly knows the game on that side. Yeah. And like when he's playing his game and when he's kind of on, he's not missing shots. He's, dropping defenders. He's, he can basically play against any NBA defender. And then on the other side of the court, man, defensively, he is always looking lost. He always loses his man. Nuggets generally play man-to-man for anybody who might not be familiar with them. He's always losing his man. And, those defensive rotations really, like, wreck the Nuggets. When you look at his, like, true plus-minus during those periods, it's not good. So, I think that's why he doesn't get as much playing time as he gets. Obviously, Malone is known for being defensive, so...
But that's this year. Like he just got off like two or one back surgery or two back surgeries, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And it's his first time actually playing, and he was already young. And so for me, it's like he's not going to be good at defense or just overall this year anyway. And that's why for me it's about like seeing his flashes, understanding that like he has that in him, and just build his IQ and build his body, cuz he's not going to really be a player until, that's what I'm saying, that 2 years. Like next year he might like string together. It's kind of like Brandon Ingram. People were sleeping on Brandon Ingram. Even last year, people were like, "Oh, Ingram's not going to be there," and they just bam, right? Because Ingram had it in him. Ingram didn't have the injuries Michael Porter Jr. does, but this is like you said, Jokic is just a kid, 25. 28, 29-year-old Jokic with like third, fourth year Michael Porter Jr. And then Jamal Murray hasn't even gotten to his final form because I think he's been having like he didn't have the jump that I thought he might have, but I think that jump is always in him. And whether it's this year or like the playoffs last year a little bit, like speak to me a little bit about Jamal Murray.
So one thing about the Nuggets is they're not super athletic, and Jamal Murray is like just under par of like top tier point guards as far as athleticism goes. Like you compare him to Westbrook, you compare him to, Kyrie, you compare him to Dame, like, the list goes on, and he just doesn't have that athleticism. So he relies mostly on skill. And that's the one thing that I just don't know can change. Like, I don't really see him just like all of a sudden, at 24, 25 becoming like an insane athlete. Like, I think it's almost the opposite, right? Like, kids come in super athletic.
Jamal is athletic though. What are we talking about here? He's quick on his feet. He's twitchy, and then he can get up. Like he can. Yeah. Who did he destroy towards the end of the season?
Oh man!
Oh
dude,
my God!
He got a nasty dunk.
It'll come up. Search Jamal Murray top dunks on YouTube. I'll put that in the background so you guys can watch. But like that is nasty, and you can't tell me that guy.
Dude, I'm not saying that he's not athletic. I'm saying that compared to the maybe top 5 point guards, he's less athletic, and so I don't know what his next kind of step is.
It's playmaking. I'll tell you what his next step is. If he got smarter on the ball creating for his team, then you got the second playmaker next to Jokic, because I just don't think that you can't have that guy. Like Jokic is special enough to like make Jamal Murray work, so he doesn't need to be that like playmaker at the guard position, because you can put Jamal Murray and then a defensive minded 2, which Gary Harris has been disappointing this year, but I feel like there's something up there. I feel like you can't have the Gary Harris season of last year and then just like for the rest of your career just be in the slump. I feel like he's gonna come back in a meaningful way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in his life. Like sometimes you just have a bad year as a person. Like I don't know if that, like I'm just saying one bad year on the court in whatever reason it might be. Like I'm not gonna write Gary Harris off as just not a player, right? So that's why this year I'm saying like if the Mavs came against you, like I got them as an underdog pick against the Nuggets. I got the Rockets, with Westbrook and Harden kind of going at Jokic, like, on the defensive end. I kind of feel like they would win. Even the Thunder, I feel like, could upset you guys because you don't have that like guy who's gonna stop Chris Paul and Shea and like Schroeder even, who's been hot this year. Like your defensive options at the guard slot are tough, and that's the strength of all of these teams, and you don't have a wing to punish them, and that's why I think Michael Porter Jr. needs to be that wing to punish these guys who don't have defensive wings. In OKC, Rockets, and the Mavs, it's the same situation for all of them. They're wing weak and guard strong, and that's your exact weakness. So it's like it's tough for the Nuggets right now, I feel like.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is like I on the offensive end, he's not a super player, but Torrey Craig is a great defender and
defensive player of Australia.
Shut down, as much as you can shut down James Harden. That's like kind of relative speaking. Like really, really put James Harden to work, and so I think that there are defensive rotations that can work. But you're right. Like consistency for a full 48 minutes. What are the Nuggets going to do against these teams? It's tough, and really, it's got to be that offensive engine. And so it's like you got to have Gary and Will Barton hitting shots. You can't have Paul Millsap not shooting a shot through an entire quarter or like ending a game with fewer than 10 points. Like those starters really got to click offensively to beat those teams. And what I'll say is the Nuggets can beat every single team in the league on any single night.
Yep.
But the problem is consistency, right? I've seen the Nuggets
problem is targeted game planning. I feel like in a targeted game plan situation, the Nuggets are gonna be exposed more by these teams than in a regular season situation, which is what like we're talking in like I'm talking in a negative tone, I guess, about the Nuggets, which is weird for me because I love the Nuggets and all their players and I'm super high on them in the future. It's just this year the targeted attack is exposing them and the regular season game isn't because that's just who they are. They're a good team on any given night. What do you think about that?
So that's the thing is like, when they're hitting their shots, like I don't even think that a targeted attack. The big thing that the teams use against them defensively is a zone defense.
Yeah.
And they force the Nuggets to take threes. And when Nuggets hit those threes, which they can, like they've had plenty of games with, 50, high 40% 3-point shooting. They can hit those threes, but nights where they're in the 30s, in the 20%, from the 3-point, like they can't do much because, going back to Jamal Murray, they don't really have that creator besides Jokic. They don't really have a lot of dribble penetration. They don't really have somebody, historically that was like Gallinari who can make offense off of nothing. They don't really have that player.
That's
or
why
at least
MPJ
that
needs to
second
become
option.
that player.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think MPJ can. Will he pick it up on the defensive end in time for Malone to actually play him? I don't know.
Also, Gary Harris being kind of like non-existent this year, or at least his version of himself this year, like I feel like that's big time for why the Nuggets might not be that great in the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what have you seen
100%.
from him?
Yeah, 100%. Like Gary Harris not playing well is not good. Like he's been decent defensively. Like I don't really see him like having a huge drop off defensively, but yeah, on the offensive end, these shots that he should be making, these kind of easy finger roll layups, he's just like completely missing, or they fly off the rim or something. Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like his touch isn't there. It's almost like he just doesn't have that finesse he used to have. Anyway, yeah, I think you're right. But Paul Millsap's also a big issue.
Yeah.
Like Paul Millsap, when he's playing well, he's playing angry. He's playing with energy. Like the Nuggets are way better. But when he's kind of meandering and looks lost on the offensive end and isn't really taking control on the defensive end, the Nuggets really struggle. They really struggle.
Yeah. But you also have a couple other guys that, like Jeremy Grant, for example. That was, I feel like, a decent pickup. I feel like that's another guy who I'm high on even moving forward for you guys. Athletic, mobile, he can definitely play that. Like I feel like Millsap is just getting to the point where he could be a great vet off the bench. He's not 30 million, but he's still making 30 million. So you have him in that transition year, and right. So then Jeremy Grant's gonna hop over, I would guess, like in playoff situations at least. Maybe you still start Millsap as a legacy play, or he just accepts the role off the bat. But I think like moving forward, like Millsap is still better this year. I just know that that's coming. And I feel like still taking advantage of how good he is now off the bench against bench units would be a better play. And then Jeremy Grant could just slide in as the 4-man. I feel like that's the playoff adjustment that's going to be made, I would think, unless Millsap just shows out in the playoffs, which like he could. And prime Millsap today is still better than prime Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, for sure.
But that switch is going to happen. And I think Jeremy Grant's a good option to fill in there. And then we got Will Barton. Like he's, I feel like steady. You guys started him this year. I also don't know how smart that is. I feel like his ideal role is a like fire starter off the bench too. So if you had like Barton and Millsap off the bench, and then just like ease MPJ into the starting lineup, or go Torrey Craig if you're not willing to go MPJ. Again, lower usage. Torrey Craig and Jeremy Grant locking up on the wing. You got Jamal Murray and Gary Harris right there too. And if Gary Harris turns back up, he can play defense as well. And then Jokic is just making plays for the athletic guys, just running around. Maybe not enough shooting, but I think that's what kind of needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean the Nuggets were really good right when Millsap came back, and he was playing off the bench, and he was only playing, like 16 minutes a night or something, 15 minutes a night.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy Grant was slotted into the four in the starting unit, and they really built some chemistry. And after Millsap came back, kind of post All-Star, his minutes started going back up into the 20s. Like they kind of lost that chemistry a little bit. And so, that's one argument that I think a lot of people have against Malone is that he plays with lineups too much, and it takes him too long to figure out good lineups. Honestly, like the Nuggets having a sixth man coming off the bench, whether it be Millsap, I don't think Will Barton would accept that role at this point. I think he would probably demand to be traded. Gary might play really well. He plays well with Mason Plumlee. Maybe he would be a good person coming off the bench. It's hard to say, but they need something there too.
But Gary Harris isn't gonna you need the combination of ball handling and the defense in both lineups. And you have the high usage guys in Jamal Murray and Jokic, and Will Barton his game is being a high usage guy, and he's not gonna get the usage that's going to make him most efficient when you have Murray and Jokic who also need the ball. And then Millsap also likes to make plays. He's a great role man too. I mean, role player too. And he can do that. But I feel like you can go to him a little bit more coming off the bench, and that'll, satisfy him too. And then it's just, I don't also, maybe Malone's tinkering with lineups a lot because he's just trying to see all the different lineups and how they work together throughout the regular season. And then now you have all of them tested. You have the answers that you need. And I mean, that's kind of, I can relate to that a little bit in just how I go about other stuff. So he's trying to use the whole season as sampling for everything. And then when it actually matters, he's going to only use the best ones. So I kind of don't mind the testing if it settles itself down when it matters, but again, you got to see that actually happen. We can't assume that that's what he's doing.
Well, the other thing is you sacrifice your seeding when it comes to that. So the Nuggets were kind of floating around second place for
only
most of the regular season.
A game and a half out. They're only a game and a half out from the Clippers.
Clippers were on fire to end the season. Rockets were really starting to get some things right. Even other teams like the Mavericks and a lot of the other Western Conference teams were starting to figure things out. And it felt like while everybody was trending up, the Nuggets started trending down. And that's really concerning, especially when it comes to playoff positioning. Yeah. If they end up in a fourth seed and have to or in the third seed and end up having to play Rockets in the first round, it just doesn't look good. That doesn't look good for them.
Yeah, maybe who knows? Maybe it was the next game that he was gonna adjust, or maybe it was the two or three games out. I don't know. You never know when things are gonna click or when things are gonna just go wrong for another team. It's kind of volatile that way. But game and a half ahead of the Jazz as well, who I feel like I'm gonna have a similar tone for them. Even though I don't know, the Jazz also don't have what you need to really be successful, and it's that all around wing type of guy. The thing is, the Jazz don't really have the person that's going to become it. You guys at least have Michael Porter Jr., who has a shot at being that guy for ultimate success, and that's why I don't think the Rockets are really that hot either. I just think they have the tools that they need to take down the Nuggets. But also the Nuggets have Jokic, and he's gonna destroy the Rockets in the post, and I just don't know which one's gonna topple the other because both are huge weakness or mismatches. Like, let's talk about that series a little bit, because if the playoffs do start, that is the series, and both teams can exploit the other extremely well. What do you think about that?
Man, that's the thing is, I think Denver won a game against the Rockets. I think they maybe split the series. Don't quote me on that. But the big thing is that, like, at center, who did the Rockets have? Chandler and
That's it. PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker. Like Jokic is going to tear them up. Like Tyson Chandler, when the Nuggets and Rockets played, was getting frustrated. Like, you see a lot of defenders get frustrated. He was about to lose his temper. He was, slamming the ball on the ground. He was not happy at all playing against Jokic.
No, Jokic is just too large. That's the thing. He's just extremely large, and he doesn't have that. Like, you can't really PJ Tucker him out of the post. You know how PJ Tucker kind of gets under you? Jokic is just thick, like, all over. So he's not gonna get moved. He's not gonna get moved. Big dude. Yeah, he's just too large. And
the other thing Jokic does is he hooks defenders, right?
Yeah.
He hooks them and he pulls them and he throws their arm up, and it makes it look like they're fouling him. And even when he doesn't get the calls, which he doesn't get the superstar whistle quite yet.
No.
Even when he doesn't get the calls, he's pissing the defender off.
But he's also pissed off. He's always pissed off, dude. Why is Jokic always pissed off?
Dude, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit with his personality either. Like, off the court, like, it doesn't. Man. He's always yelling. But yeah, and then guards, obviously, like, Westbrook is a Nugget killer. Like, he played in Oklahoma for a very long time. He played the Nuggets, 4 times this season. He knows a lot of these players, like, very, very well. Other than Gary Harris and, Torrey Craig, I don't think that the Nuggets have, like, much in the way of guarding any of the Rockets, like, guards. I don't think that they can defend.
Not at all. They're not at all.
They can maybe slow him down, like I said earlier, with, like, certain rotation, but, like, man, I don't think that. Even Austin Rivers was having, like, an insane game against the Nuggets this season. Just because.
So what you would have to like put Torrey Craig on Harden, and then like Monte Morris on Westbrook. Maybe, like, I feel like that's not what you need. I feel like
no, not at all. Monte and
maybe
him
you slide like Torrey
Craig 4
or
5 inches height difference too.
Torrey Craig on Westbrook, and then Jeremy Grant on Harden. Length to disrupt. I feel like that might be a way to go, because then you can get away with that because the Rockets don't have bigs, so you can get away with like going down 2 positions on defense like that. I feel like that's the best bet.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I feel like Harden would just get Jeremy Grant every single time.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
He would get the whistle all game long.
I think Jeremy Grant's getting cooked easy. Because the thing is, Harden will cook anyone. It's not just it's Jeremy Grant. Like, Harden will, like, cook Kawhi on a possession. Like, Harden's just nasty. And when you're Jeremy Grant, like, you're a good. That's why I'm saying, like, he can at least attempt to bother him, and then. If he's going really aggressive, he's long too. He has quick feet. So, like, if anyone's going to do a good job on the Nuggets and also leave room for Westbrook to be guarded by someone who can guard Westbrook in Torrey Craig, maybe, because Westbrook might just outspeed Torrey Craig every time down. Like, that's also in play. So either way, it's not ideal.
Is super quick, but yeah,
he is.
I think Westbrook would still have a step ahead.
So yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's the other thing is when they did play this season, the Nuggets did a decent job, guarding Harden. Instead of him getting 45 points, he got like 20 something. And so it's maybe they can maintain that, but over a series they're going to start poking holes. They're going to start finding ways to get their guards to bite, and It's
not only that. It's not only Harden cooking Jeremy Grant. It's Harden completely demolishing Jokic with PJ Tucker setting a screen. You know,
Yeah,
like
right.
like how is Jokic going to keep up when this is like PJ Tucker, who's also pretty mobile, or they'll do some random shit. Like they will easily just run like a Harden Westbrook pick and roll. And
Yeah.
like what's Jokic going to do? Like Jokic is just done for. Both of them are extremely quick and he's just done for. And then if it's like Tori, you know, it's that's
That's
what's
when
tough.
Jokic just like kind of has to take a step back too, because once he starts getting frustrated, that's when he gets a bunch of foul calls, gets in foul trouble, and so a lot of times you do see that when he gets the mismatch, especially against players like James Harden, he kind of takes a step back and just lets them get the basket, so he doesn't
Yeah.
get the foul call. They just smoke him, man. They flame him.
So he's gonna have to play drop defense, and that's just Harden's just gonna eat. If he's just they're just going under, like Harden's not gonna. That's the thing though. If he goes cold, if Harden goes cold, then it's just like, all right, the Rockets are out. The Rockets can easily shoot themselves out of a series with like two bad games that really matter.
Oh,
You know,
guaranteed. Yeah.
that's always in play, but it's all also like they could just not have those games and then beat someone up there. The only team that I have you guys beating out of those four, because Memphis, I think you'll beat. I think you'd
Oh,
beat
easily. Yeah.
the Jazz. I have you guys above the Jazz, just because I don't know. I just think you guys
I think Denver takes Oklahoma
you have a
in
10
a
to 1 division
7
record.
game.
Like you're just demolishing the Jazz, OKC,
Mm-hmm.
Portland,
Yep.
and who else is in your division? The Wolves, but I mean,
Yeah. T
you
Wolves, which like yeah, I
you
mean,
should be beating the T Wolves.
God, they're just barely better than Golden State, and they supposedly have the best center in the league.
Man.
Um, yeah, it's I think obviously I think the Lakers and the Clippers would just take the Nuggets. They get to a second round against either of those teams, then they're done for. Um, and plus, like, I may be a little selfish. I want to see the Lakers Clippers Western Conference
Oh,
Finals. Like, I want to
100%.
see that.
Yeah.
I want to see Kawhi and
Yeah, as a
LeBron.
Nuggets fan, you don't even want to, disturb them, like disturb your own as an NBA fan, disturb your own,
Yeah,
happiness and enjoyment. And it's
yeah, exactly. Just take a step back, guys. Build the team up to be good in 2 years when LeBron kind of finally peaks off.
exactly. And you just, the LA rivalry is crazy. Just in the same
Dude, yeah.
arena, the whole series, same arena, same city. That's crazy. Just the
And
best
like,
players, like four of the top like 8 players in the league, three of the top like four. It's just crazy.
I'm so curious if like the Lakers being the Lakers would just fill the arena with Lakers fans, or if the Clippers would have like a decent
Oh, it would
showing.
be Lakers. It would be.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
just
that you'll see Clippers fans. It's just there's no
mhm.
chance that it's not going to be all Lakers.
Yeah, it would just be like a sea of yellow, man. Like,
100%.
yeah, I just
But
it.
it's gonna be playoffs, so what they're gonna do is the Staples Center or like the Clippers organization is just gonna put like Clippers shirts on everywhere. It's just gonna be a bunch of Lakers people rolling up with a bunch of Clippers shirts everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, I think we're
That's
good. Do you
good.
have anything else that you wanted to mention, talk about? We got to a lot.
No, man. No, I mean, I think that's it. Like overall, like season was a little bit disappointing. The Nuggets did not play with the consistency I expected them to. Obviously, like they got off to a record start to, for the franchise, and so it's really difficult to say it's disappointing. But this team could be better on almost every single loss that they had, and so it's tough to see that. Hopefully, next year they'll come back with a little bit more maturity, a little bit more,
Mhm.
consistency, and figure out a couple of question marks in their lineups and come back better. But we'll see.
We'll see. We will see. Well, what you got going on? It's a segment that I forget occasionally, but to close the show, we do quarantine corner. Um,
Oh,
so give me something that you've been either doing or got back into, or something different just because of the situation where we're in our house?
Man, I don't even know that I want to put this on a podcast, put this on blast, dude. All right. The one thing that I've gotten into is my wife got me to do a puzzle with her.
What kind of puzzle? How many pieces?
Like, I think it's 1,000 pieces. So it's like a pretty decent puzzle.
All right, for sure.
I never do puzzles. It's just not my thing. It's a little too passive for me.
What's the picture?
It's of a bookshelf, right? Okay. And it's actually of a painting. So it's actually not bad. Okay. It's like a lot of different colors. Anyway, so it's normally not my thing, man, but she got me to do it.
Hey, puzzles are cool. I used to do puzzles when I was little. I just can't. I don't have the patience, and I feel like I would just get annoyed with the mess of the puzzle more than. But if you have a puzzle corner, just like strictly for the puzzle, and it doesn't.
The puzzle quarantine corner.
You could. There's a lot of alliteration, man. The Corona quarantine corner.
Oh, there you go.
It's a lot of stuff, but I think quarantine corner works best. I was talking with DJ or Mike or one of the other episodes. I've been doing yoga a lot more.
Oh, nice.
So
nice. Yoga's good for you.
Yeah, that's been good. Although my ankle's messed up, and the yoga's killing my ankle right now. But I think it's getting better.
If anything's gonna teach you how to recover, get you to recover that ankle injury correctly, it's going to be yoga. 100%. So
yeah,
just keep up on that one.
That's what I'm doing. Anyway, thank you all for checking us out, and we're going through a lot of different teams. Maybe not the final season recap, but it's definitely a period of transition, and that's what we're going to be covering, talking about a lot of other different teams. So appreciate you, Eric, for hopping on, chatting Nuggets.
Yeah, man. Love it. Thanks for having me on.
And we'll talk to you guys next time. Go again.
So the one thing I regret not bringing up is that Carmelo Anthony jersey, that old school powder blue Carmelo Anthony Nuggets jersey sitting in the background.
All-time jersey. Honestly, my other friend Eric from DraftKings, he just walked up one day, or put in Slack. He was like, hey, I got all these jerseys. And then one of them was just like a Nuggets Carmelo Anthony jersey. I also got a Jailblazers Zach Randolph, Jailblazers Zebo.
Oh, nice.
And he was just like, yeah, does anyone want him? I was like, easily.
Yeah, done.
100%. And I got the Jimmy Butler, so I had to make my background a little bit more interesting,
Yeah, there you go.
Butler, the old school Melo, and then some participation AYSO trophies to top it all off.
Represent. Love it.
Done. But yeah, peace out. All right, that's for